The massive scout ship hung silently in Earth's orbit, its dark metal hull reflecting the pale moonlight. Inside, Commander Ajax stood with his four arms crossed behind his back, his scaled skin shimmering under the soft blue lights of the bridge. His yellow eyes narrowed as he studied the redouts from the planet below. "Most unusual," he muttered, tapping one of his clawed fingers against the display screen. "The biological readings from this world are off the charts." He turned to face his science officer. "What do you make of this, Officer Reed?" The smaller alien adjusted his scanning equipment, his antenna twitching with excitement. "Commander, this planet seems to have developed a unique relationship with its local fauna. Our sensors detect millions of specialized breeding facilities and training grounds." Ajax's face darkened. In his 300 years of service to the Galactic Alliance, he had never seen anything quite like this. The creatures these humans kept were descendants of ancient predators, yet they lived among them freely. "Show me these facilities," he ordered. The main screen flickered to life, displaying images from around the planet. Ajax watched in growing horror as humans of all ages interacted with four-legged beasts. Some were large and powerful, others small and quick. All possessed sharp teeth, keen senses, and predatory instincts. "They call them dogs," Officer Reed explained, pulling up more data. "And these places, they call them parks and homes." He paused, antenna drooping slightly. "Sir, they let these creatures sleep in their dwellings. They even share their food with them." Ajax felt his scales bristle. "These humans, they've done the impossible. They've domesticated apex predators and turned them into living weapons." He began pacing the bridge, all four hands clasped behind his back. "Look at how they train them." The screen showed a human throwing a small object and a beast charging after it at high speed. Another image showed a larger creature leaping over walls and through obstacle courses with incredible agility. "Combat training," Ajax whispered. "They're preparing for something." A junior officer rushed onto the bridge, clutching the datapad. "Commander, we've intercepted their global communication network. They share millions of images and videos of these beasts daily. They call them good boys and puppers." Clearly code words. Ajax snapped. No species would willingly share their living space with predators unless they had militarized them. He turned to face the front viewport, watching Earth rotate slowly below them. "And look how they've spread these creatures across their world. Every continent, every major city. They've built a global army of beasts." The science officer cleared his throat nervously. "There's more, sir. They breed different types for different purposes. Some are massive, with enough jaw strength to crush bones. Others are small and agile, capable of fitting through tight spaces. They've even created versions with enhanced smell and hearing abilities." Ajax felt a chill run down his spine. A specialized force for every possible combat scenario. "These humans are more dangerous than we thought." He walked to his command chair and sat down heavily. "Show me their training facilities again." The screen displayed what the humans called a dog park. Dozens of beasts ran freely, some chasing small objects, others wrestling with each other. Humans stood around, watching and making strange high-pitched noises that seemed to excite the creatures. "Look at how they maintain their battle readiness," Ajax observed. "Even in their off-duty moments, they're training." He zoomed in on a small human offspring holding a tiny version of these beasts. They indoctrinate their young early, teaching them to control these weapons from childhood. Ajax stood up, his decision made. "Send word to the Alliance Council. Earth is not the primitive world we assumed it to be. They've created something unprecedented, a bond with natural weapons that our scientists never thought possible." He stared at the image of a human hugging one of the larger beasts, its mouth open to display rows of sharp teeth. "They call themselves their best friends, but we know better. These are living weapons, and the humans have an entire planet full of them." "Your orders, sir?" Officer Reed asked. "Maintain orbit and continue observation. We need to understand the full extent of their beast program before we decide how to proceed. Ajax's eyes narrowed. And whatever you do, don't let them know we're here. A species that can turn predators into loyal soldiers is capable of anything. The Alliance Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as Commander Ajax presented his findings. The huge circular room, filled with representatives from 100 different worlds, fell silent as the first images of Earth's beasts appeared on the giant screens. As you can see, Ajax said, pointing to an image of a German shepherd chasing a ball, their combat training begins early. They use small projectiles to develop pursuit skills. His clawed finger moved to another image of a puppy pulling on a rope toy. And here, strength training starts even in their youth. An elderly council member leaned forward, his crystalline body catching the light. These creatures, they live inside human dwellings. Yes, Counselor, Ajax replied grimly. They keep their weapons close at all times. Our scans show that many humans sleep in the same room as these beasts. He pulled up a new image of a dog lying on a bed. They call this cuddles, but we believe it's a form of night combat readiness training. Gasps echoed through the chamber. A representative with tentacles for hair spoke up, her voice trembling. But surely they must keep them contained when not in use. Ajax shook his head. That's the most disturbing part. Look at this. He displayed footage of a dog park. They have designated training grounds where they release dozens of these creatures at once. They practice pack hunting techniques and complex command structures. The humans have even developed a sophisticated coded language. The footage showed a human saying, "Who's a good boy?" to an excited dog. Our linguistics team is still trying to decrypt their combat commands. Ajax continued. They appear to use high-pitched tones and simplified phrases to maintain security. A warrior race representative, covered in battle scars, stood up. What about their breeding program? Surely they can't have many of these weapons. Ajax pulled up a global map dotted with thousands of points of light. Each light represents what they call a shelter. But we know these are actually breeding and training facilities. They have millions of these creatures, with new ones being produced daily. They've even created specialized variants. The screen showed different dog breeds: a tiny Chihuahua, a massive Great Dane, a sleek Greyhound, and a sturdy Bulldog. Infiltration units. Ajax pointed to the small dogs. Heavy assault units. He gestured to the larger breeds, speed attack squadrons, and close combat specialists. They've engineered the perfect biological weapon for every possible scenario. The council chamber erupted in worried murmurs. The head counselor, an ancient being of pure energy contained in a hovering metallic sphere, moved forward. What do you recommend, Commander? Ajax straightened his uniform. The humans are clever. They disguise their warrior beasts as something they call pets, claiming they keep them for companionship and emotional support. But look at this training exercise they call fetch. The screen showed a human throwing a stick and a dog sprinting to retrieve it. Speed, agility, retrieval of fallen objects, instant obedience to commands, all disguised as simple play. They're masters of deception. Ajax's yellow eyes narrowed. And they're young. They start bonding with these creatures from infancy. A final image appeared. A baby laughing as a dog gently licked its face. They're raising a generation that can control these beasts without fear, Ajax concluded. If we don't act soon, they might start expanding beyond their world. Imagine armies of humans, each commanding their own beast unit. The galaxy wouldn't stand a chance. The head counselor's sphere pulsed with concern. Your recommendation, Commander. We need to establish first contact immediately, but carefully. We must assess their intentions while preparing for any possible aggression. I recommend a diplomatic mission, heavily armed, of course, to meet with their leaders. The council members looked at each other nervously. Finally, the head counselor spoke. Approved. But Commander Ajax, remember, no aggressive moves. If these humans can command such fearsome creatures with mere words, we must be extremely cautious in our approach. Ajax bowed slightly. Of course, counselor. I'll prepare my best diplomatic team immediately. He glanced one last time at the image of a human hugging the large dog. And I'll make sure they're ready for anything. These dog weapons could be more dangerous than anything we've ever encountered. The massive Alliance diplomatic vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere, its cloaking device active until the last moment. Commander Ajax stood at the bridge, watching as their landing site, a large open area called Central Park in New York, came into view. Status report, Ajax commanded, adjusting his diplomatic sash. Officer Reed checked his instruments. Human authorities have cleared the area as requested. But, sir, he hesitated. They're insisting on bringing their own security detail. Expected. Ajax nodded. They'll want to show off their beast weapons. Remind all crew members. No sudden movements. We don't want to provoke an attack. The ship landed softly on the grass, and Ajax took a deep breath. Let's meet these humans and their beasts. As the ship's doors opened, Ajax and his diplomatic team emerged to find a small group of humans waiting. At their head stood Captain Tom Miller, Earth's chosen representative. But what made Ajax's scales ripple with anxiety was the large creature sitting calmly at Miller's side. A German shepherd wearing a special vest. "Welcome to Earth," Miller said with a smile, extending his hand. "This is Max, my service dog. He goes everywhere with me." Ajax's translator processed the words, but his mind raced. Asterisk, they've brought a high-ranking beast commander to the first meeting. Such a display of force. Asterisk. Greetings, Ajax replied cautiously, keeping all four arms close to his body. Your security measure is noted. Miller looked confused for a moment, then laughed. Oh, Max isn't security. He's a service dog. He helps me with my disability. As if on cue, Max gently pressed against Miller's leg, steadying him as he shifted his weight. Ajax watched in amazement. Asterisk, they've trained them for medical support as well. The sophistication is incredible. Asterisk. The diplomatic meeting moved to a nearby building. As they walked, Ajax noticed something alarming. Humans everywhere had these beasts with them. Some were tiny, carried in bags, while others were large enough to reach a human's waist. Most disturbing of all, the creatures appeared to be performing different tasks. One small fluffy dog walked past wearing a tiny raincoat. Asterisk, clearly environmental protection gear. Asterisk, Ajax thought. A larger dog carried a ball in its mouth. Asterisk, mobile weapon transport. Asterisk, he noted mentally. Inside the conference room, Max lay quietly at Miller's feet as they discussed potential relations between Earth and the Alliance. Everything was going smoothly until a junior human diplomat dropped her tablet with a loud clang. Max's ears perked up, and he lifted his head. Ajax and his entire team froze. "It's okay, boy." Miller patted Max's head, and the dog immediately relaxed. Asterisk, such instant response to vocal commands. Asterisk, Ajax marveled. Asterisk, their control is absolute. Asterisk. During a break in negotiations, Miller took out a small bag. "Mind if I give Max his lunch? It's his feeding time." Ajax watched in fascination as Miller poured dried brown pellets into a bowl. Asterisk, they fuel their weapons with specialized combat rations. Asterisk, he noted. "Would you like to give him a treat?" Miller offered Ajax a small biscuit. "He's very gentle." Ajax's eyes widened. "You would let me command your beast?" Miller laughed again. "Command? No. Just give him a little snack. Here, hold it flat in your palm." With trembling hands, Ajax held out the treat. Max carefully took it from his palm, his tail wagging happily. The gentle interaction shocked Ajax to his core. Asterisk, either this is an incredibly advanced demonstration of their beast's control, or asterisk, he couldn't finish the thought. It challenged everything he believed about Earth's weapons program. As the day ended and the diplomatic team prepared to leave, Ajax watched Miller and Max walking away. The dog stayed close to his human, occasionally looking up with what appeared to be. Could it be affection? Back on his ship, Ajax sat in his quarters reviewing the day's events. Computer, search human records for the word gentle in relation to their beasts. The results that filled his screen would keep him awake all night, questioning everything he thought he knew about Earth's mysterious creatures. Day 2 of the diplomatic meetings brought more surprises for Commander Ajax. The human delegation had arrived with even more security measures, this time including what they called a therapy dog, a golden retriever named Buddy who freely wandered the conference room. "Sir," Officer Reed whispered urgently, "the beast is approaching delegates without orders." Ajax watched nervously as Buddy walked up to various alien representatives, tail wagging. Most shocking was how the dog seemed to sense which delegates were most stressed, going to them first and placing his head gently in their laps. "Remarkable targeting system," Ajax muttered. "It identifies the weakest links immediately." The real change came during the afternoon session. While the adults discussed trade agreements, Counselor Vix's child, who had insisted on accompanying her crystalline parent to the historic meeting, grew bored and wandered away from the conference room. Nobody noticed at first. Then Buddy's ears perked up. The dog stood, sniffed the air, and quietly left the room. Ajax tensed. The beast has broken protocol. It's pursuing the child. Before anyone could react, they heard a happy giggle from the hallway. The meeting halted as everyone rushed to investigate, Ajax leading with all 4 hands ready for action. What they found stopped them in their tracks. The young crystal child had wandered into a storage room and gotten lost in the maze of shelves. But instead of attacking, Buddy sat with the child, letting the young alien pet his fur while gently herding them back toward the door. "Good boy, Buddy," the human handler said, causing the dog's tail to wag faster. Ajax watched in confusion, but it had a perfect opportunity to strike. A vulnerable target. Isolated. Strike. The handler looked puzzled. No. Buddy's trained to find people who are lost or scared. He's a certified therapy dog. His job is to help people feel safe and happy. Ajax's worldview began to crack. Help people. Feel happy. As if to demonstrate, Buddy walked over to Ajax and leaned gently against his leg, looking up with soft brown eyes. Without thinking, Ajax lowered one of his hands and felt the soft fur. Something strange happened in Ajax's chest, a warming sensation he'd never experienced before. Buddy's tail thumped against the floor in a steady rhythm. "This is a weapon?" Ajax asked quietly. Captain Miller, who had joined them in the hallway, shook his head. "Commander, I think there's been a huge misunderstanding. Dogs aren't weapons. They're companions, friends. They've evolved alongside humans for thousands of years, not as tools of war, but as partners in life." Ajax kept petting Buddy, his other 3 hands hanging loose at his sides. "But the training facilities, the commands." "You mean parks and basic obedience?" Miller smiled. "We train them so they can safely live with us, not to fight. Here." He pulled out his phone and showed Ajax something humans called puppy videos. For the next hour, the diplomatic meeting was forgotten as Ajax and other alien representatives watched clips of dogs helping elderly humans cross streets, rescuing people from disasters, playing with babies, and simply being loyal friends. "I don't understand," Ajax finally said. "With their strength, speed, and intelligence, they could be devastating weapons. Why use them for?" "Love." The crystal child, still petting Buddy, answered in their musical voice. "Because love is better than weapons, silly." Ajax looked around the room. At the happy child, the content dog, the smiling humans, and his own amazed crew. In all his years of military service, he'd never encountered a species that had taken fierce predators and turned them into sources of joy rather than weapons of war. Perhaps Ajax said slowly, still stroking Buddy's fur. "We have much to learn from humans about power and how to use it." Miller grinned. "Would you like to visit a dog shelter tomorrow? It might help you understand better." Ajax looked down at Buddy, who gave him a gentle lick on one of his hands. "Yes," he said, surprising himself. "Yes, I would like that very much." The local dog shelter was nothing like what Commander Ajax had imagined. Instead of the high-security military facility he expected, it was a simple building with colorful paw prints painted on the walls. The sound of barking echoed from inside. "Are you sure about this?" Ajax asked Captain Miller nervously. "There must be dozens of bee-dogs in there." Miller smiled. "Trust me, Commander. This will change how you see everything." As they walked inside, a shelter worker named Joe greeted them. "Welcome. Don't worry about the noise. They're just excited to meet new friends." Ajax's translator struggled with the concept of excited to meet new friends when applied to what he had believed were living weapons. But after yesterday's revelation with Buddy the therapy dog, he was willing to learn more. They walked past kennels where dogs of all sizes wagged their tails and pressed against the gates to greet them. Ajax noticed something strange. Many of these dogs looked sad. "Why do they seem unhappy?" he asked. Joe's face grew serious. "These dogs were abandoned or lost. They're waiting for new homes. Some have been waiting a long time." Ajax's four hands clenched in confusion. Abandoned, but they're valuable military ass. He caught himself. "I mean, they're such good companions. Why would humans abandon them? Sometimes people can't take care of them anymore. Or worse, some people are just irresponsible," Miller explained. "That's why shelters exist, to give these dogs a second chance." They stopped at a kennel where three small puppies tumbled over each other playfully. Joe opened the gate and picked one up. "Would you like to hold her?" Ajax froze. I don't know how." "Here," Joe demonstrated with his arms. "Support her body like this. She's only 8 weeks old." With trembling hands, Ajax accepted the tiny puppy. The small creature looked up at him with big brown eyes and licked his scaly chin. Something inside the battle-hardened commander melted. "She's not afraid of me at all," he whispered in wonder. "Dogs can sense goodness in people," Joe explained. "They don't care what you look like or where you're from. They just want to give and receive love." The puppy snuggled into Ajax's arms and fell asleep. He stood there, barely breathing, afraid to disturb her peaceful rest. "This is what we've been trying to tell you," Miller said softly. "Dogs aren't weapons. They're beings of pure love. We didn't turn them into weapons because we found something far more valuable: unconditional friendship." They spent hours at the shelter. Ajax learned about different breeds, not as combat units, but as companions with different personalities and needs. He watched in amazement as Joe trained a dog using only treats and praise, no force required. "But they're descended from wolves," Ajax said, still trying to understand. "They could choose to be dangerous." "They could," Miller agreed. "But thousands of years ago, dogs and humans made a choice together. They chose love over fear, cooperation over conflict. And both species were better for it." As they prepared to leave, Ajax kept looking back at the puppy who had slept in his arms. Joe noticed. "You know," he said casually, "she needs a home. And our adoption program is open to everyone, even visiting alien commanders." Ajax's eyes widened. "You would trust me with one of your dogs?" Miller laughed. "After watching you hold her for 3 hours, I think you're already hooked." Ajax looked at his delegation members, who had also spent the afternoon playing with various dogs. Many of them wore the same wondering expression he felt on his own face. "Perhaps," Ajax said slowly, "we need to revise our initial report to the Alliance Council. Earth hasn't created an army of beasts." He smiled, surprising himself. "They've discovered something far more powerful, a way to turn natural enemies into family." The puppy barked from her kennel, and Ajax felt that strange warmth in his chest again. Perhaps he had some revising to do in his personal life as well. Commander Ajax sat in his quarters aboard the Alliance ship, watching his newly adopted puppy, now named Star, chase her tail. A week at the shelter had completely changed his view of Earth's weapons program. He had even started carrying dog treats in one of his 4 hands. The peaceful moment was shattered by blaring alarms. "Commander, to the bridge immediately." Officer Reed's voice crackled through the speakers. Ajax scooped up Star and rushed to the bridge. The main screen showed multiple unknown ships appearing at the edge of Earth's solar system. "Report," Ajax commanded, while Star sniffed curiously at the air. "Sir, they're shadow hunters, the galaxy's most notorious raiders. 3 capital ships and dozens of smaller craft. They're not responding to hails." Ajax's scales darkened. Shadow hunters were shapeshifters who could look like anyone. They infiltrated planets, caused chaos, and then attacked while civilizations fought themselves. "Alert Earth's authorities," Ajax ordered, "and get me Captain Miller." Minutes later, Miller's face appeared on the screen. Before Ajax could explain, Miller's service dog Max started barking frantically. "What's wrong, boy?" Miller asked. Then Max ran to a corner of the room and growled at what looked like an empty space. Suddenly, the empty space moved. A shadow hunter materializer appeared, dropping its camouflage. But before it could attack, Max had already pinned it down. Ajax's eyes widened. "Their stealth technology. Your dogs can see through it." "Not see, smell," Miller said as security forces rushed in to capture the infiltrator. "Dogs can detect them by scent." More reports flooded in. All across Earth, dogs were alerting their humans to hidden shadow hunters. A golden retriever in a park barked at a suspicious tree. A chihuahua in an apartment complex wouldn't stop growling at a vacant unit. Even Star was now growling at a shadowy corner of the bridge. "Security to Section C," Ajax shouted, finally understanding. 2 crew members rushed in and caught another infiltrator trying to sabotage the ship's controls. "Good girl, Star," Ajax praised, giving her a treat. He turned to Miller's screen. "Captain, I have a plan, but I'll need Earth's help, and your dogs." The next hours were a blur of activity. The Alliance fleet and Earth's military coordinated their efforts, but the real heroes were the dogs. Police dogs, farm dogs, family pets, all of them helped locate hidden shadow hunters before they could cause damage. At a vital space station, a stray dog's barking led security forces to an infiltrator trying to disable Earth's defense systems. In New York, a team of search and rescue dogs tracked down shadow hunters hiding in the subway tunnels. The raiders, realizing their stealth advantage was useless against Earth's canine defenders, tried a direct assault. But they hadn't counted on the bond between humans and dogs giving Earth a perfect early warning system. "They're retreating," Officer Reed announced as the shadow hunter ships fled the solar system. The bridge crew cheered. Star barked happily, tail wagging as Ajax picked her up. "You see, Commander," Miller's voice came through the comm. "Dogs aren't weapons. They're protectors. They defend us not because they're trained to, but because they love us." Ajax scratched Star behind her ears, watching as she yawned, and fell asleep in his arms. "I understand now. Earth hasn't created an army. You've made friends with beings who naturally want to protect those they love." He looked at the report he'd been writing to the Alliance Council. With one hand, he deleted the words "potential threat" and replaced them with "valuable allies." Though, he added with a smile, watching Star sleep, "I suppose the shadow hunters might disagree about dogs not being weapons." Miller laughed. "They're only dangerous to those who mean us harm. To everyone else, they're just loving companions who happen to be very good at keeping their family safe." Star woke up just enough to lick Ajax's face before dozing off again. The commander smiled, realizing that somewhere along the way, he had become part of her family too. 6 months after the Shadow Hunter incident, the Grand Hall of the Galactic Alliance was filled with an unusual sound: barking. Commander Ajax stood at the podium, Star sitting proudly beside him. Now fully grown, she wore a special Alliance diplomatic collar and wagged her tail as Ajax addressed the council. Honored members of the Alliance, Ajax began, one hand automatically reaching down to scratch Star's ears. Today we vote on Earth's membership application. When I first visited Earth, I thought I was investigating a weapon program. Instead, I discovered something far more powerful: friendship. The chamber was packed with representatives from hundreds of worlds. Many of them now had dogs of their own, a trend that had spread rapidly across the galaxy after the Shadow Hunter incident. The crystalline counselor, who had first questioned Earth's beasts, now had a fluffy Samoyed puppy sleeping at her feet. The warrior race representative played fetch with his German shepherd during meeting breaks. Even the head counselor's hovering sphere had a special platform attached where a small mixed-breed dog napped contentedly. Earth's dogs helped save us from the Shadow Hunters, Ajax continued, not because they were weapons, but because they were friends protecting those they loved. They showed us something many of us had forgotten: that true strength comes from bonds of trust and love, not fear and control. Captain Miller, sitting in the Earth delegation section with Max beside him, smiled proudly. In the months since the attack, Earth's dog training programs had become the galaxy's most sought-after diplomatic initiative. Not for military purposes, but for something more important: teaching aliens how to be good dog parents. The humans have a saying, Ajax said, who rescued who? Many of us who adopted Earth dogs ask ourselves this question. These creatures have changed not just our lives, but our understanding of power itself. He gestured to the various aliens in the chamber. Look around. Species that once distrusted each other now meet regularly at intergalactic dog parks. Military leaders who once planned for war now discuss the best types of dog treats. Even the Hive Mind Collective has learned to pet dogs gently with their tentacles. Star barked in agreement, making everyone laugh. The sound of happy laughter in the Alliance Council chamber would have been unthinkable a year ago. Therefore, Ajax concluded, I propose not only accepting Earth into the Alliance, but creating a new position: Galactic Minister of Canine Relations, and I nominate Captain Miller as our first minister. The vote was unanimous. As Miller stepped up to accept his new position, Max trotting happily beside him, Ajax remembered his first terrified report about Earth's beast program. How wrong he had been, and how glad he was to have been wrong. I never thought I'd say this, Miller said in his acceptance speech, but the aliens were right about one thing. Dogs are Earth's secret weapon, not for war, but for peace. They teach us every day about loyalty, love, and friendship, and now they're teaching the whole galaxy. After the ceremony, Ajax walked through the Alliance's new dog park, a facility that would have once been unimaginable in the heart of galactic government. Star played with dogs and aliens of all species, her tail wagging nonstop. You know, Miller said, watching the joyful scene, technically, your first report was correct. Earth's dogs did conquer the galaxy. Ajax laughed, watching Star roll over for belly rubs from a group of young aliens. Yes, but not through force. They did it with love, one heart at a time. As if to prove his point, Star ran back to Ajax, jumped up to lick his face with all four hands trying to pet her at once, then rushed off to make more friends. That's the real power of dogs, Miller said softly. They don't just make us better individuals, they make us a better galaxy. Ajax nodded, his heart full as he watched the once formal Alliance chamber now filled with the sound of happy barks, alien laughter, and the unmistakable sound of tail thumps against the floor. The dogs had indeed taken over the galaxy, and the galaxy was all the better for it.